I'd like to thank Secretary General Stoltenberg for hosting this NATO Defense Ministerial. It certainly comes at an important time for the alliance as Russia continues building up their military presence along Ukraine's borders, including in Crimea, in Belarus, and in the Black Sea. In many ways, this brings Russian troops right up to NATO's doorstep. So let me begin today by making clear that America's commitment to NATO and to Article 5 remains ironclad. As President Biden said a couple of days ago, we will, if we must, defend every inch of NATO territory. There's no reason, of course, that it should ever come to this. Just like there's no reason for Russia to again invade Ukraine. Ukraine does not threaten anyone, let alone its Russian neighbors. And yet that is what Moscow would have us believe. And that is how Mr. Putin continues to justify his assembly of significant combat power. Now, the Russians say that they are withdrawing some of those forces now that exercises are complete, but we don't see that. Quite the contrary, we see them add to the more than 150,000 troops that they already have arrayed along that border, even in the last couple of days. We see some of those troops inch closer to that border. We see them fly in more combat and support aircraft. We see them sharpen their readiness in the Black Sea. We even see them stocking up their blood supplies. You know, I was a soldier myself not that long ago, and I know firsthand that you don't do these sort of things for no reason. And you certainly don't do them if you're getting ready to pack up and go home. So we and our allies will stay vigilant. We will watch for the so-called false flag operations, where Russia manufactures a dramatic event to justify an attack, a play that we've seen them run in the past. And we will continue to explore ways to enhance our readiness, as the United States and others have done with additional troop deployments to NATO's eastern flank. And we will closely match Russian words to Russian deeds, what they say to what they actually do. Of course, one thing that Mr. Putin says he wants to do is to engage in more dialogue. And as we have said all along, we would welcome that. We believe there's still time and space for diplomacy to work, and we are in lockstep with our allies and partners towards that end. A peaceful outcome that respects Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity represents the best outcome for Ukraine, to be sure, but also for Russia and the Russian people. If Mr. Putin is serious about achieving that sort of outcome, he will find in the United States and in this alliance no better or more serious interlocutor. And if he's not, as his deeds thus far tend to indicate, it will be clear to the entire world that he started a war with diplomatic options left on the table. It will be Mr. Putin who will bear the responsibility for the suffering and the immense sacrifice that ensues. You know, I've been doing this for a long time, this business of national security. I joined the United States Army in the middle of the Cold War, and I have served and fought alongside NATO allies for the better part of my adult life. But I can honestly say that I have never seen the alliance more relevant and more united and more resolute than I see it today. Mr. Putin says that he doesn't want a strong NATO on his western flank. He's getting exactly that. I'll soon depart for Poland and then to Lithuania to spend some time with these strong allies who likewise take these obligations seriously. I'll visit with their troops and mine, see their leaders, talk with mine, and talk about how together we can bolster the defense of the alliance. I'd also like to add my appreciation to Bulgaria, who just today agreed to host a U.S. Army Stryker company for joint training opportunities. Now, these troops will be departing Germany in the coming days, and they'll help ensure our readiness and our interoperability with Bulgaria as our NATO ally. All that is to say that I leave here incredibly proud of the alliance and satisfied in the knowledge that we will be sure-footed in the face of aggression, but dedicated, as always, to the prospect of peace. Harry Truman, the American president when NATO was founded, put it best when he noted that though peace was difficult, war was not inevitable. And so it is today. There is nothing inevitable about this looming conflict. It can still be averted. The path of diplomacy may be difficult, but it is still worth the trek. And NATO, as I said, remains sure-footed. Thank you.